Hi, this is Lyman Orton. My partner Janice Itzy and I conceived and funded Art of Action with two goals. One, to engage Vermonters in the discussion over the future of Vermont, and two, to develop a market for this sort of art that will become an important economic factor in our future. Art of Action is, in one way, a communication medium on the future of Vermont to reach folks who may not otherwise become engaged in that discussion. I funded Art of Action to enable professional artists to produce these works without the risk of doing so on speculation. I believe Vermont will become a hotbed for this sort of art that will draw attention not only from within the state but across America.
I used to go out with my dad, who was somebody who could only have time to paint on the weekends. And as a kid, I would tag along and watch him sit and do a watercolor. And when I was a little kid, it took half an hour to get out to countryside and working farms. And by the time I was an adult, they were all developments, all subdivisions. You had to drive practically for a day to see working farmland anymore in Washington.
An artist can go another way. And I think that's one of the great things about painting and being a painter as well as an architect. I can't hold on indefinitely to my memories. I should let it change. It's going to change. The Vermont of the future. And the young children that grow up here, maybe they'll stay, maybe they won't. But definitely the future of Vermont has a lot to do with what's already here and what has been here.
I'm an explorer, and I go out into the landscape. I'm not really sure what it is I'm going to paint. I mean, it drives me nuts when people say, "So what are you going to paint today?" I'm just like, I don't know. And I have to make a connection. I have to walk around and I have to make a discovery, who knows what it could possibly be. I mean, when growing up in Maryland as a kid, I used to, sort of a ritual before painting an old farm or an old building was to look for arrowheads, projectile points in the plowed fields, and it would just be kind of meditative. But it would get me connected to something outside of myself. When you're outdoors, you're more rapidly swept into the astonishment of nature and all its possibilities.
I really believe we are living off the capital of the earth to an extent that, future generations will dearly pay for it. So, and at the same time, this project, the Art of Action, that says, okay, look to the future. And in order to go on, you need to have some hope. Right? So I looked for things that were hopeful and positive. I meet so many people who are dedicated to it furthering and nudging us along in a positive direction. It's really very heartening.
Part of the hiding social and political commentary within a cartoon format is that people are not threatened by it. They can look at it and they can kind of take it with a grain of salt and smile and see the humor in it, or if they are aware enough, then they can get the point very seriously. I'm always excited to sit in the background and listen to people when they look at work, because everybody sees something different in it. They read their own story into your story, and they get out of it what they want to get out of it. It's fun when people really find and get it.
Bridges, for me, specifically, they're interesting because they're sort of there's a sense of history associated with them, particularly with covered bridges. That's a real icon for the state. But they're also the steel truss and concrete bridges. They're like an event in the landscape at the same time that they are a structure. So there's a lot of interesting compositional things you can do with the bridge. And then I really got into the idea that, you know, the future of bridges depends on maintaining what's there. The future of infrastructure depends on maintenance. And these construction sites start looking really dynamic visually. So I've been going to the construction sites, and that's where the project is sort of ending up now. It's at the construction sites. And, you know, it's like kind of by privileging the construction workers, by privileging the subject of this bridge that they're either demolishing or rebuilding or just repairing, it elevates it kind of to a new level of importance, hopefully, in the eyes of the viewers and the people that use them and depend on.
The Book of Hours takes you through a month by month, day by day. I'm only doing the month by month part. And it has a main narrative scene, and then it has a beautiful dome that in the original version is a zodiac with the month and the weather sort of prediction for that time. I've removed that part and replaced it with, again, a beautiful sort of celestial presentation, but instead of the zodiac, I've replaced it with endangered species from North America. And it changes with the season, so you get species that you would have seen or hopefully will still see in that particular season. And then the part that deals with the months has been replaced with pollution index, which again I hope is attractively rendered so that it serves as a gentle reminder of what we need to be as good stewards, but doesn't sort of beat you over the head, I hope, with it.
I want these paintings to be about a source of celebration of what Vermonters do now, of how they work, how they deal with the forest, the values that are inherent in the way that they work and in the work that they choose, and all the little choices that go along with it, the frugality, the excitement, the pleasure in the natural world that are all part of working with woods. That's something to me that's worth paying attention to, worth celebrating, and worth making images about that will last and hold that value.
I actually did, and to my mind, 2 paintings that just seemed I was compelled to do. Somehow the essence of the work was revealed to me, although at the outset I did not know that what I was really painting was hope. And that has threaded itself throughout this work until the very last painting, to my mind, well, it's titled Invitation to Hope. And it is a statement that reflects optimism, welcoming hope for the future.
Many of us might not be doing exactly what we have traditionally done, but I know that we have all grown just exponentially in terms of opening our hearts and our minds to just new ways of thinking about who we are, what this place is about, and how the arts can function, I think, in very responsible ways. This has allowed us to really think about the nature of who we are, where we are, and how we can, in a way, hopefully educate through our work in ways that might not have been just purely aesthetics, but in other ways. And that's what has been a great challenge for all of us, too. That we have had to think in the box, out of the box, and way beyond it. It's been challenging.
In many ways, the phrase art of action is somewhat of a novelty. I mean, artists of any merit throughout the ages have always been artists of action. An artist of action is someone who has a sense of urgency about responding to the visible reality of their times.